Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I'm glad you're here. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. Without you, I would not be doing these videos. If you are a new viewer, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I love to talk. No, not really. I do love to talk, but that's not the only thing I like to do. It's the thing I like to do most, apparently, because I come on here and I yap. Anyway, I knit, I crochet, I sew, I do all kind of different things. But primarily, I knit, crochet, and sew. Today, I have a few things. I think I am touching on, actually I am, I'm touching on all three of those of my favorite crafts. Some knit, some crochet, some sewing. But, just letting y'all know, it is some of my work in progresses. They were completed. Oops, got a stray hair. They were what I thought was completed, but they weren't, because I messed up and I had to frog them. So, let's go with this big, huge box. Now, this thing, I paid $28 to ship this humongous box. I didn't pay. I mean, I paid, but I didn't pick this box. The company that I ordered this from packed all of this in this humongous box. And when I show you, you're going to be like, what? Yes. Well, I'm always on the hunt for new things, right? Or new to me things. And my trip to Tennessee, I will show you some of that in a minute. But this actually came from California. I ordered it before I left. In fact, I ordered this on July 16th, and it didn't come till yesterday, which was the 22nd. So I guess 6 days from California isn't bad, but I paid for priority shipping. USPS priority shipping, and they shipped it. Actually, I'll show you. They shipped it ground advantage, but on my invoice it says USPS priority. So I'm going to contact them and I'm going to say, you know, if you advertise priority shipping, do so. Now, I don't even know that it would have gotten to me before I left for my trip to Tennessee or not. But I don't know. I guess it was just some bad decisions all the way around. And I'm not going to put them on blast until I reach out to their customer service. So, we'll see. Alright. Now, I ordered 8 of these. But I'm going to show you just how big. Look. Alright, I'm going to hold this in my hands. And you tell me. Because when you ship, you not only pay by weight, you pay by package. And you see how big this box is. There was that was not even necessary. So I don't mind. I would have rather them packed it in a smaller thing and sent it to me priority, because it was $28.74 for shipping for these little 8 things right here. Anyway, I will contact them because it did say priority shipping and they sent it ground advantage. I fully believe in expediting things if you promise that. I don't even promise that, but I try to expedite to get all of y'all's orders out and get them, you know, to you as quick as possible. That's a point of pride for me. But, alright, now I'm finished fussing. So, I was really excited to come back from my trip and find this. Because, do y'all remember when Deb sent me that octopus and chicken fabric for me to make some bags for her? Those fabrics had a lot of special meaning for her because her and her mother had purchased them from quilt shops. What a lot of y'all expressed that y'all loved that chicken bag, and could I make you one? Well, she had sent me a very small amount, and that was it. Well, guess what I found? And I bought 8 of these. So I have fabric to do this again. I'm so excited because I actually fell in love with that fabric. Look at that. Look at all them chickens in their glory. They're beautiful, are they not? And I'm almost 100% sure that this is the same fabric. Now, did I look at my previous videos to make sure? No. But that fabric left a huge impression on me. So I am almost positive. Well, obviously I'm pretty positive if I spent that much money to get this stuff shipped to me. But I'm pretty positive that this is indeed the correct fabric. Deb, if you can kind of throw your hat in there and say yes it is or no it isn't, Lynn, you messed up, I'd appreciate it. No, you don't have to, but I was so excited to get this. So I'm going to be making some bags of that. And I don't know if I have any of the fabric left that she wanted to put on the bottom. I'll have to look. I will have to look back at the videos to see that. But I'm so excited. I got that's yeah. I know I have a lot of chicken lovers out there. And I also can do, oh yeah, I'm doing my flavored water, the Mio liquid drops, watermelon strawberry this morning. Now, this right here, I did show y'all right before I left the fabric for it. But this is for Christine. And this is that beautiful library book fabric with the gold embossed spines. That word was just evading me last week. But I thought that was gorgeous. Now, I had thought about using brown or maybe a deep burgundy for the bottom and the top of this. But I really didn't want to distract from all the beautiful colors that were in here. So I left just a plain black top and bottom. And I thought that was gorgeous. I'm loving how that turned out. Now I did make Marge a small nutcracker bag because Nancy, that was Nancy's sister, and I wanted to, she had sent me a message before I left, you know, if I could make her one because she wanted a bag like her sister's, and I said that was perfectly fine, but, you know, I would not be back until the 22nd, and I apologize. I'm so sorry. But she's already done her invoice. It's packed. It's ready to go. So by the time you see this, she will have already had it. Now, Christine did this for her daughter, so her daughter will probably already have this. Maybe. I don't know. By the time you see this. But anyway. Alright, so. I'm going to talk about my trip to Tennessee. Actually, I'll leave that to the very end. So, I do have more fabric. But I'll do that as an update at the very end of the video. Now, here's my work in progresses. Sorry, got something in my eyeball. Now, before I left, I had stated that I had to redo Beth Ann's bag, right? And I did it. I redid it. And it was already done. Only thing I was going to have to do was weave in my ends for my straps. Until I held it up. Making sure, you know, that there wasn't anything else before I cut my yarn off. And, y'all, I goofed up. So, when I'm doing, alright, after you sold, so here's the panels, alright, of course I have thread on it. It's in my workroom. There's thread everywhere in here. But anyway, this is unlined. This is still, it's a work in progress because I was a goofball. Now, when I do my, alright, here's my handles. Yes, they look skimpy right now because it's only two and a half rows on some parts. So, right here is the side panels, and they have, you know, they have their own little thing. That's fine. But over here, I had forgotten one of my to go togethers, so they were bowing out like this on both sides. And see, it's supposed to do it like this and like that to where you don't see it bowing out, you know, kind of like that. So I had to rip all the rows out and redo them, and I am working on that. Yeah, so I did that in the mountains, and I did this in the mountains, and I'm still gonna have to rip this one out, and thankfully it is still attached to the comb because this is a perfect way to show you how I messed up. For one, I did 7 rows on the handle. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't need to do 7 rows. But do you see, hold on, it's been scrunched up in my bag. So you see how these go out? They're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to go like that, like straight up. They're not supposed to go out. And so when I do, in the valley, when I was supposed to be doing single crochet 3 together, and I was only doing single crochet 2 together. So it messed up. So I'm going to have to rip all of that back out and redo that after I do Beth Ann's bag. Sorry, Beth Ann. I just got finished talking about Christine and the bag, and the other bag, the non-crochet bag. I'm sorry, y'all. You know what? I have found out I need a new bed. I'm not sleeping well at all. Even though I complained that the cabin bed was hard and hurt my hips, apparently I need a new bed. I need it. we didn't know we were going to be out in the sun as much as we were. I mean, I knew we would be out some, but not for long, super long periods. And my daughter-in-law complained we didn't have any sunscreen for my grandson. And this is all that Ober-Gatlinburg, which now they call it Ober Mountain. But I found that in the gift shop, so I bought some. And it's still in my bag. Yeah, see? Ober Mountain. My son and daughter-in-law got a wristband, you know, all you can ride and all that stuff, which was a total waste because my daughter-in-law didn't do anything. Oh, actually, no, she did. She did. They did try ice skating. That didn't go over well. I'll catch y'all up here in a minute. So anyway. Alright, so that was I showed you my sewing, my crochet. Now for my knitting. And I grabbed the wrong bag. Totally grabbed the wrong bag. Alright, so I'll have to show y'all that next time. I'm trying to keep my video as simple as possible. But I will show you. Because I'm using some of that Premier sock yarn that I bought. Not the sock kit. But it's the... make sure it's still recording. Okay. Y'all know me and technology. But anyway. It is the Sugar Socky in the sock yarn. So I'm getting excited about it because you wouldn't think so. And it's these tones because I'm not a brown person. I don't have anything against brown. I just usually don't go for it. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's it's not a preferred color, but I also know that I have some browns in my wardrobe that I don't have represented in most of my socks. I have one pair of socks that has just a bit of brown in it. But those socks are, it has oranges and yellows, so it's more fall tone. And I needed something a little less, or a little more neutral. Oh, and I have not fixed the neck yet, and that's alright. I just needed something really comfy and relaxing today. So, I chose this, even though I haven't fixed it yet. But who says you can't wear your garments, especially around the house, before you fix them, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. As far as, now, I went to 2 different fabric stores in the mountains. This one right here, it was Iva's. Let me see if I can look it up on I have it saved on my phone, but I don't know. Let me see. Alright, so it's Iva's Quilt Shop. Iva and Company Studio. It is in Sevierville. And let me tell you, I walk in this place. Now, it is set in an industrial style area. So you wouldn't have thought about it if you didn't know where it was. But that's okay. Apparently she has enough business going on that if you're up there, go see her. She is the sweetest lady. And the minute we walk in, I'm just like, ah. And I'm looking around and my daughter-in-law is like, oop, kind of thing. She was floored too. The only drawback, and this is not Iva nor the other quilt shop, I felt very rushed. going into these places, because I said on the way up there that there was only 2 things I wanted to do. The rest, I would be there for them and my grandson. I wanted to go to a couple quilt shops and a couple yarn shops. Well, the only yarn shop, there was 2 yarn shops that I found. Well, 1 yarn shop other than the spinnery, because I did want to go to the spinnery, but there was another yarn shop, and I only got to go to 2 quilt shops on the very last day on the way out of town. I'm glad that I got to go to them, but it was tainted a little bit, because I am the type of person that I will put someone else's wants and needs before my own. And I kept putting it off and putting it off. And what I thought about doing is, because I told my daughter-in-law, I was like, if you and Adam want time to go do something for y'all, Papa and I will watch the baby, because he can go with us to a quilt shop, a yarn shop. We can, take him to get something to eat, whatever. And I thought that's kind of what we were going to do. But she kept deferring to my son. And my son kept getting irritated because he said he didn't want to make all the decisions. Well, when you 2 are the parents of the child that are first now experiencing everything the mountains has to offer, then guess what? Y'all need to make the decisions. So I was flexible, but I didn't know it was going to come down to trying to fit everything I wanted to do in the last hour we were in Tennessee. Now, that's the only part that I didn't enjoy as much, because I did feel rushed. Nobody was technically rushing me, but we were literally on our way home. And I know my son had to work Wednesday, so I didn't want to get back into town too late. We still got in later than I wanted us to get in town for him, but I think I spent 15 minutes at Iva's and 20 minutes at the Cherry Pit. Anyway, so at Iva's, and I would not have found this fabric if my daughter-in-law wouldn't have. I passed by it. Now, that quilt store is a treasure trove of beautiful fabrics, and I saw a lot that I liked, but I'm trying to steer clear of chickens, of butterflies, and flowers, because I have a smorgasbord of all of those things. So I was trying to, and that's what I was explaining to my daughter-in-law. I wanted to find something in these quilt shops that I didn't have to bring home to make more beautiful bags for y'all. But my eyes gravitate to these things, it just sucks me right in. It's like, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. So anyway, we are almost through the shop. And she's like, oh, Miss Lynn, look at this. Because we were in the Christmas section. Because I was, oh, look at this, And she's like, but Miss Lynn, it's not Christmas. I said, there's never a wrong time to buy holiday fabric. Because I can have holiday fabric and either A, make a bag, or B, wait until that season or that holiday comes and I can make a bags, or I can, yeah. So anyway, she's like, okay, good thinking. I'm like, yeah, appreciate that. So she's like, oh, Miss Lynn, look at this. And I turned and I was like, yeah, I saw it. And she's like, no, look at this. And I looked at it. I'm like, oh, wait, hand that to me. So she handed me the bolt. And I'm turning it. And I see very faint, twinkly looking. And I'm like, oh. So I'm going to show y'all this. And yes, it is a Christmas themed fabric. Doesn't mean that it has to be. Hold on. Apparently I can't get my ups and downs. Okay. Okay, we're right. But look at this. Is that not gorgeous? Now, I'm hoping that by turning it to the light a little bit, that I can show y'all. And it's very faint glitter. And it is not coming off. I have run my hands over this a ton. And I have not had the first speck of glitter. Because I did that in the shop. Just to make sure that the glitter wouldn't come off. But I did pay quilt shop prices. I did. This one was a little bit higher than I'm used to. It was $30 for 2 yards. And I'm like, whoa! But she had already cut it. And that was one of the drawbacks to the shop, because a lot of her bolts didn't have prices on it. So yeah, this, to me, this is some bougie fabric if it was roughly $15 a yard. But she had already cut it, and I wasn't going to try to say, you know, no, because I'm not that person. I'll pay $30 for the 2 yards. But I'm so excited. I mean, with the snowflakes and the snow on the trees, it's, yeah, this is going to be a beautiful bag. And also, the reason I bought 2 yards is I can save, since this is not, I mean, it is a directional, but you don't have, it's not as, I won't have to be precise as I will be with this. Because with this, you're going to, like when I did Deb's, I wanted to highlight a specific rooster on each side. So I used up every bit that she had given me just for the one bag. So, but with this, with a yard of this, I might not eat, because I was thinking this would be a beautiful quilt. The colors of it, if you wanted, if you didn't want like a lot of crazy colors in your quilt, this would be beautiful. This and maybe a couple different tones of blue or even gray. Oh, that would be gorgeous. Like a light gray. Maybe have some, oh, okay. Yeah. My brain is just firing. But anyway, so I bought the 2 yards. Because I always try to think of usefulness in fabric and honestly yarn. Because if I can buy a cotton, a Lily Sugar and Cream cotton in a certain colorway, I think, okay, can I use it for this? Can I use it for that? Can I, you know, yeah. So I'm doing the same thing with my fabric. All right. That's all I have to show you for now, because I did forget to bring in my sock bag. I grabbed another bag, which is one of the very first project bags that I did, and I like this one so much I kept it. But I wasn't really, and there's some stitching errors, quite a bit of stitching errors that I was not going to, I mean, like the liner is back when I was trying to develop what I wanted, and the liner is an old bed sheet, which that's fine. You know, I don't mind using that. Okay. So that's it, and if that's what you came for, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Now I'm going to talk about my trip in greater detail rather than the little sourpuss thing. Yeah. Now, I will say this. I hope my son and daughter-in-law had fun. Now, I know it's hard for my daughter-in-law with her anxiety, to let loose and enjoy herself to the degree that most of us do. And actually, you know what? While we're sitting here talking, I'm going to work on Beth Ann's bag here. But, oh, and, well, I will have finished this and probably sent it to you by now, but Beth Ann, I was thinking and that's that. Okay, you know how I was telling y'all about that big twist? Alright, so these are my 4 colors. This is brown and lily sugar and cream. This is chocolate ombre and lily sugar and cream. This is soft ecru or whatever it is and lily sugar and cream. And this is that big twist that I was telling y'all I had. It is a perfect combination to go with those other colors. But anyway, so I was thinking about keeping the bag a really light color, and I might do a color that's similar to this, or I might just go white. I don't know. I want something light colored so that even though it's not a huge bag, you want to see what's in the bottom, right? Anyway, so back to the trip. Yes. I don't have my little squirrel over here. He's sitting over there in front of my TV so I can see him and smile. And but I enjoyed it. I hope they did too. The cabin was beautiful. Beautiful. The only problem is it was further away from everything. And I don't mind that. I mean, and I may at the end of this thing put a clip or two at the end to show you the view, because every morning I would record about a minute's worth of video, because what I want to do is put it on a loop and put it as a screensaver on my TV so that I can see and hear that when I'm in here working. It was glorious. The view was spectacular, but it was a ways away from everything, so I don't know. That's got its good points and its bad points. I have stayed in the heart of Gatlinburg. I have stayed in the heart of Pigeon Forge. But my daughter-in-law, that was one of her requests, that we find something that was secluded and not around people. And I don't mind that. It was a little bit out. Not as bad as it could have been. But, because the original one, I think, would have been even further. But by the time my son got able to book it, because my other son and my husband refused to tell us whether they wanted to go or not. My son and daughter-in-law and grandson were going regardless. But, depending on if they had 3 people versus 6 people, mattered. So, we lost out on the first cabin, and that's okay. It's fine. It was a beautiful little cabin, but it wasn't a requirement. And it was a little further out, so in the end, it probably worked out best, right? Let me tell y'all, I did want to be a little bit older when I became a grandmother. But I'm kind of glad. Now, my grandson is 5 years old. So, I was 47. And my son was 22. So, it's not like he had it. They had the baby in their teen years or anything. They were grown, young, but grown. And I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of glad I didn't wait, or they didn't wait to make me a grandmother, because, y'all, keeping that pace was insane. And my husband, bless his little sport heart, he kept up with us. But we did do things with him in mind and with his disability and his limitations in mind. So it wasn't like, yes, he was in more pain, but he's in a lot of pain just sitting here at home. So I thought the trade-off was worth it, but it's not my body. My pain, the trade-off was worth it. I did have a lot more pain, but seeing my grandbaby, and I have videos of him going around. We did NASCAR speed park. He loved it. We also went horseback riding, and I'm not going to be gross, but I will show y'all something. My stirrup cover, I can't think of the name right now. Apparently I have a problem thinking of words when I get on video. I don't know if y'all can see. Well, nah, I ain't gonna do all that. My calf, the inside of my leg, kept getting trapped between the shield for the stirrup and the saddle, and it's bruised beyond heck. If I think about it, I'll post just a still picture up here. But I just realized as I was about to hike my leg up to show y'all, I'm in a dress. I didn't mind showing y'all my sock the other day because I was in my shorts, but I'm wearing a dress. And I started to lift my leg up, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Just in case. Nope. So, that piece might either be cut or blurred or something, because I don't know if anything showed. I'll have to look at that before I send it to my son to edit. But anyway. Oh, speaking. Okay, squirrels. I know. Nope. I'm going to write this so I can remember. Okay. So, no squirrel moment right this moment. Not really. While we were there doing the horseback riding, now to me, this was the fault of the stable. And had I known prior to what happening, I would have said, no, we need another horse. Okay. So they had a selection of horses at the rail, and it was a guided horseback riding. Well, we're all up on the mounting stand, which I don't agree with. If you need a mounting block for someone who has difficulty getting on a horse, fine. But you shouldn't have a mounting stand, because using the stirrups, this is what he told us, using the stirrups is bad for the horse. That's the look I gave him. I'm like, and the way he said it meant that was a company line. That was not his opinion. So, because, I mean, let's face it. I get up on a horse bareback with just holding on to their withers, you know. Yeah, anyway. That is something that has recently, in the last 5 or 10 years, came into more of a popular opinion amongst people. But opinions are like booty holes. Everybody has one. So, you know, I get it. Anyway, he asked us if who had ever ridden a horse before, and me and my daughter-in-law raised our hands, and the other 4 people were like, no, we've never ridden a horse. And so he looked at us and he said, do y'all have much experience? I said, well, I had horses for years. And my daughter-in-law says, I didn't have horses, but I've ridden a bit. So I made a joke with her later in the trail ride that next time we go on a guided trail ride, I'm going to say I don't have any experience at all on a horse. Now, I do like a horse that has a mind of their own. I always have. A little spirit, a little sass, And it was funny because the girl that walked my horse up to the mounting stand, she said his name, and I'm partially deaf. I did not hear what she said, so I did ask her to spell it for me. And she said F-L-O-P. I said, oh, flop. I thought you were saying flow. I don't know how I got flow out of flop. But anyway, I guess I didn't hear the P, or she just dropped off when she was saying the word, which that is often. Or she might, because she did turn away from me. So that might have been that moment that she turned away and I didn't hear the last sound. So she said, he has ADHD. I said, okay. That's fine with me. And he did have ADHD. And if a single leaf was out of place, he had to figure out what was wrong with that. He was like, oh, what's going on? Something's different here. And he was clumsy. They had a flip and he was a flop. So, they had flip-flop. But he walked about as good as I did. He was stumbling everywhere and carrying on and being distracted. And then we were about halfway through and there were some deer over here. And the trail guy said something and I can't hear, right? For one, he's mumbling. 2, he's in front of my daughter-in-law. So he's a good distance away. And I was like, what did he say, Kat? She said, he spooks at deer. Good to know. So I'm rubbing Flop's neck and I'm distracting him from the deer and everything. And, he looks at him and he's like, okay, no, I don't. And I'm stroking the other side of his neck so he can focus on this side of himself rather than the deer. And we pass it. And about 10 feet down, there's a deer poking his head out a little bit further, and Flop, he looked over there, and I'm scritching and scratching his neck, and he said, oh, and he's, so he's not worried about the second deer at all. But anyway, I don't mind any of that. But let me tell you, the 4 behind us, because the trail guy had my daughter-in-law and my grandson on the first horse, and then me, and then the other 4 people. Their horses were so dead broke, they were just plodding. And no, I'm not about all that. So my grandson only lasted about 50 feet, maybe 60 feet on this horse before he lost all composure and they had to have my son come get him. Because my daughter-in-law says, after all this was done, she said, yeah, they told me that Doc had a problem wanting to eat the whole time. So I would have to, stop him from trying to eat. Well, telling someone that who has a 5-year-old doubled up with them for the first time. And this horse was 17 hands high if he was a single hand. And for those of you who don't know, that is a very tall horse. Okay? So we're walking away from the mounting block, going down this little hill. And there's some grass on each side, and there's a fence right there. And Doc proceeds to start to eat. And my daughter-in-law's trying to pull his head up. The tour guide's hollering at her to pull his head up. My grandson is not liking it. Because for his point of view, he's at the front. So this really, really tall horse has bent his head down. So, of course, my grandson and my daughter-in-law tip forward just a little, not a lot. But there's nothing in front of my grandson. He's feeling like he's about to fall off the front of this horse. Slide down the neck. So my daughter-in-law's fighting this horse to try to get the pulling on the reins with my grandson in front of her. And she's already nervous. And I wish I had pushed the fact, because my grandson wanted to ride with me. And I wish I had pushed that fact so that I could have been there. Because my seat is not sturdy as it used to be because of the problems in my legs. I mean, that's why I got rid of my horses, because I couldn't ride them safely out by myself. And my husband was in no way, shape, or form to ride with me. So, I think for her, she was more apprehensive and scared that my grandson would fall or whatnot. And she's pulling on this horse, and the horse isn't responding. And the horse leans his head up, and he goes to move forward a little bit, and he didn't judge the fence. And it's an electric fence. They could have had signs posted on that. I don't know if that would have changed anything, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, Doc's nose hit the electric fence, and he literally jumped completely sideways. I seen my daughter-in-law, she shifted in her saddle, and I'm like, oh my God, she's about to fall. And that freaked my grandson out, and it just went to heck in a handbasket in seconds. And he's screaming bloody murder, and he's calling for Grandma, and I told him, Grandma's right here, I'm right behind you. And she eventually puts her hand over his mouth, which sends him further into a tizzy. And she explained later that I couldn't see any of this, all right? Only thing I'm seeing is her back, because I went to go around and to stand beside him, and the trail guy's like, no, stay in line, stay in line. I'm like, he's freaking out. So, it is what it is, okay? My son they had to call my son. They had to call up to the office and bring my son down to get my grandson. But I do think that they should have picked a better horse, knowing that it was my grandson's first experience. And I swore that we said this to several people, but I could be wrong. I know I said it to one guy at the front office, but in the end, that's not, and he didn't even want to get on a pony after that. And I'm going to have to work with him on that here, if I can find someone who has either a dead broke horse or a smaller, I would think even a 14 hand high. So not in the pony stage, but, like an Arabian or something. I don't know, Arabians, depending on the Arabian, they're kind of hot-blooded. But anyway, just a smaller horse, like Magnum, that I used to have, my little fella. Just something to give him a little bit more confidence, because right now he probably would, if he had his choice, he probably would never, ever, ever get back on a horse. And I'm not going to let that stand. He can choose not to ride a horse after he has a good experience on a horse. He can say, no, I'm really not interested, whatever. But I want him to have a positive experience first. So, I also wanted to do helicopter rides, but my son kind of ditched that because, it wasn't outrageously expensive, but he dropped a lot of money doing the things that they wanted to do for my grandson. The horseback riding, he said, was for us, which it ended up being for us because my grandson didn't want to ride. But that was the only reason why I said I would go, was because I wanted to experience. Horses have always been a very big part of my life. So I wanted to see how my grandson enjoyed his first horse ride. Went horribly, but for him. But we did the NASCAR speed track, speedway, whatever. We did Ober-Gatlinburg. He loved that. Like I said, the ice skating didn't go so well. But he drove them go-karts like a champ. I didn't expect anything less on that one. We went to a petting zoo. He got to walk in and feed the deer. I don't like the idea of petting zoos. Only because, now if they're rescue, then by all means, let me sign up to go in the petting zoo. But I don't know. Some people do it. I never saw anything about this place being a rescue. So, I don't know. Anyway. Opinions again, y'all. Opinions. Alright, so we did horseback riding, NASCAR, Ober-Gatlinburg, the petting zoo. Took him to watch them make candy. Why is my mind blanking? I know we did a lot more. I should have wrote it all down, everything that we did. Apparently, because my brain just says... He played the arcade at that NASCAR place, too. Why am I not remembering? I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and have y'all watch me try to figure it out, because apparently my brain says, yeah, no, we're not working today. Okay. I'll follow through with that. But just know that we did have a blast. And my husband and I, we slept on the lower level, the main level of the cabin, and my daughter-in-law and son slept at the top, which they had bunk beds. Well, they had a king bed in their room, and then they had, in the outer loft area, they had a pool table with 2 bunk beds, twin-size bunk beds. But my grandson, he sleeps with my daughter-in-law and my son. And she was paranoid about those stairs. She didn't know she had anxiety about stairs until we got there. Because, their place is all one level. So, Brantley, he wanted to sleep with Grandma and Papa. I was like, okay, come on, bud. And that bed was hard. But I don't think it's hard in a bad way. My hips, which anything that's not super soft with a pillow top hurts my hips. It has done that for years. I mean, maybe not when I was 175 pounds, okay? Maybe not then, but some days it would. I mean, it just depends on where I was at and how hard the bed was. So my pillow top mattress has served me well, but since we got home, I'm hurting worse. So I'm thinking that we've had our mattress since 2012, I want to say. So 13 years. That's a long time for a mattress. So it might be time to upgrade. And I'm honestly thinking about biting the bullet and buying one of those more expensive memory foam ones, like Nectar or Purple. I think there's other brands out there. Just to see. I was tempted to ask my son Austin, that does the editing for me, yo, I know this is weird, but can we try your bed for a night? to see if we like that style. But I think those places have like a 30-day free in your home trial or something. So I might try that. But back when my son was given either a Nectar or a Purple mattress, I can't remember, I think it was a Nectar mattress, I said, how much was that thing that your friend just gave you? Which, what happened was, when it was shipped to his friend and he unfolded it, it never fully unfolded. For the first 6 months he had it, and he called and complained, and they sent him a replacement and told him just to trash the first one. Well, he didn't. He gave it to my son, which my son used it for about 2 or 3 months and it flattened out. But it wasn't bad. It was just this very slight cupping on the outside edges, which his friend is single. He's single, so why would it affect the little bit of stuff on the outside? But anyway, I think I'm gonna talk to my husband, and first we have to fix my car and his truck, because I told him on the way home. I said, okay, what are we gonna do about my brakes or about your transmission? He's like, oh my God, I did not miss hearing that. Well, dude, we're going back home with no ride at home. Okay, we need a car. I'm not going to keep bugging my daughter-in-law if I can borrow her car, she can take me somewhere, or asking my editing son, Austin, if I can borrow his new car. No, we're not going to continue to do that. That's not who I am. So, I either have to fix my car, which, bless my little Camry's heart, it has 357,000 miles on it. And I've had her since she had 30,000 miles on it. So, I told him, I said, either we're gonna fix it, or I'm gonna start shopping for me a replacement. Which I want a Toyota Tacoma, a 4-door that I affectionately call tacos, like everybody else. Or I might even go for a Toyota RAV4, like a SUV, like a little mini mom car SUV type situation. I don't know if I wanted to go. I've always said, when my Camry died, I would get a Jeep. Well, I'm in a different stage of my life now. I didn't expect my car to last 15 years. So, I've had my car 15 years, and it was 5 years old when I got it. So, my car is 20 years old, because this is 2005. And I want a Jeep. I really, 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 really want a Jeep. But it's just not practical for me. And yes, they have the bigger Jeeps. They have the 4-door Jeeps. I don't like 4-door Jeeps. If you have one, it's nothing derogatory toward your Jeep. I am a 2-door, top-down, doors off 1985 C5, CJ5, or CJ7. Either one. That is my Jeep. I don't want to be a pavement princess. And if you don't take your Jeep off-road, this is not meant anything bad towards you. I just don't want to be that type of person. I want my Jeep, yes, I want it to take me to town. I want it to take me shopping. I want it to take me wherever I want to go. But I also want to go off-road. So, I don't think the Jeep is practical. And the Camry, my knees are getting they're getting bad. And I thought with the extra weight being mostly gone, that would help. And while it does help, they're still worse than they used to be. So getting in and out of my Camry, which is a little lower, it's getting to be hard. So I thought a Toyota Tacoma 4-door truck. And I know that sounds weird after I just said I didn't want a Jeep 4-door, but a 4-door cab, a crew cab truck, even in the smaller version like the Taco, is a lot better than the 4-door Jeep in my mind, because the Jeep is just muscle and utilitarian, and it's can't cuss on YouTube. It's bad A, okay? So that's what that is. And when you put those 4 doors on it, that takes it away from me. So, but you get a 4-door Taco or Tacoma, and it has function, you know. You can get in and out of it easy. And I do have a grandson, and I have family that travels with me. So, but the RAV4 looks good too, you know. And I love my... I think I'm going to stick with the Toyota line because my Toyota lasted forever. And I know that sounds so strange because I've always been a Chevy girl, and I worked for Chevy. You couldn't pay me to take a new Chevy. After COVID, so many car lines went downhill. Except Toyota. Prove me wrong. Now, this is coming from a girl who has been in the automotive industry for long enough, trust me, to where I know enough, and I've seen the quirks that all these newer vehicles are getting. But and even if I were to go with the Toyota XSE, which I did want, because I saw one when I worked at Amazon back in 17, 18, and I fell in love with that car. It's like mine, but sleek and sexy and beautiful. And anyway, I'm not going to go that route because, like I said, I have a feeling that my legs are progressively getting worse, and I don't know a whole lot that I can do about it because nobody will replace my knees. So, on that note, I'm going to get off here. I hope y'all have enjoyed hanging out with me today. I have had a ball talking to you and showing you all the little stuff. Now, I do have some more stuff coming up. I'm still trying to edit. That's what I was going to tell y'all about earlier when I had the squirrel moment. I'm trying to learn DaVinci Resolve because I want to take some of the pressure off Austin for having to edit all my videos. Because if I can do this, I might be able to do more videos during the week if you don't get sick of seeing me. But, you know, I mean, even if it's just crochet with me or sew with me or knit with me, just so we can hang out. And I did a compilation, and I did a comparison of a few things. And so I'm trying to get that video done and get it all together. And I'm going to, hopefully after I get off here, I'm going to try to finish that up and send it to my son and say, what do you think of the editing on this? Is it good enough? Now, keep in mind, it's not a simple editing like I normally give my son. I took 8 clips, I think. No, 9 clips plus my intro and my outro. So that's 11 clips plus music. So we're going to see how that works. And you may never see it if it's no good. If my son says, no, Mom, I really wouldn't release that, I'm going to hand the unaltered files to him and say, okay, can you do it for me? So you'll still see it. You just might not see my version of it. But if it is my version, you're going to know because I'm going to tell you. Anyway, I'm going to get off here, and I might go ahead and film the intro since I've got everything set up, and I can just, you know, I might be wearing this. Forgive me if I am, but I might do the intro to that today. That way I can put it all together and see if I succeeded or not. Oh, and on another note, I probably will test out YouTube Live here soon. So if you see it, let me know. Come on and talk to me and let me know how if the video quality is okay, if the sound, if internet connection is good. You know, I need to know all these things before I try to take it live for real. Because I think I'm going to start doing that. At first, I may do it Saturdays around 3 p.m. Eastern time. So that would put it at noon for the West Coast. And 11 a.m. for anybody in Alaska, because I know I have a couple people in Alaska. That way it's not too early or too late. Now, if anybody's watching me from the UK or anywhere else, speak up, because I don't know what kind of time frame that gives for you. I think 3 p.m. for the UK would be 8 p.m. I don't remember my time zones across the pond, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I have yabbered long enough, and if you are still here, you are my people. You're my crew. You're my village. But I have enjoyed myself today. I hope y'all have too. An update on Skittles. She is still somewhat down in the back end. She's getting around, but every few steps, either she has to stop or her legs go out and she'll have to, you know, pull herself on her front with her front paws. I'm trying to make that call because I know what my vet will say. And I don't even want to make the call to him to tell him what's going on with Skittles, because I know what he's going to say. And until I'm ready to take that next step with her and send her on her way, I'm not going to make that call. I'm not. So, for now. Oh, okay. I'm going to try to. Okay. So, I made her a couch months and months, probably over a year ago. Maybe about a year ago. I made her a little kitty couch. And she's never really liked it much. But when I came home from the mountains, I had some scrap fabric that wasn't going to be used. It was just, you know, I had put it in my cubby and forgot about it. It was something that I was going to toss out. But I just moved the bag. Instead of taking it to the trash, I had moved it out of my way, and it just stayed there. Well, she found it while I was away, and, you know, just... So, she made herself a little bed, right? And I was like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. So I brought her little couch over, and I will try to post a picture here or somewhere. And she has been sleeping on that because it's so soft, and she's so cute because she lays her head on the armchair. Now this is not the best equipped or best made kitty couch, but I was also using pieces of foam. You know how the bedding, you know, you have the little eggshell foam that you put on top of beds to make them softer. There was one in this closet from back in the day when my son had it, when this was my son's room. So I had cut that up and tried to make the components of foam, because foam was expensive and I was not going to spend money on a kitty couch that my cat probably wouldn't use, which she didn't for the longest time. But now she is, and she is loving that. So I'm going to put you a picture up of that. I'm going to get off here, because if I'm right, that's like an hour and 10 minutes. So I've talked enough. But I had so much to catch y'all up on. It was just... And I have to write these things down, or I will forget that I have to put the cabin video and Skittles picture. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. I hope y'all have a great day today. Find joy in something that you do, even if it's just a small little burst of joy. Grab it, hang on to it, and remember it when you're having some bad moments. Until next time, I will see y'all later. Bye.